Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into a really powerful and intense chapter from Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, titled The Stillest Hour.
This sounds fascinating. From the title, it seems like a moment of quiet reflection, but you mentioned it's intense. What's happening at the start of this chapter?
Well, the chapter opens with Zarathustra in deep distress. He's telling his friends, his disciples, that he must leave them and return to his solitude once again.
He's done this before, right? Going into solitude is a recurring theme for him. What makes this time so different and so much more painful for him?
Exactly. This time, he says he goes unjoyously. He feels he is being driven forth against his will, describing himself as unwillingly obedient to some higher command.
So he's not choosing this departure freely. Who or what is compelling him to go? He mentions a terrible mistress ordering him around.
That's the core of the chapter. This mistress is a powerful metaphor for an internal force. He reveals her name is my stillest hour, a moment of profound, silent revelation.
The stillest hour. That's such a poetic phrase. Is this like a moment of meditation, or is it something more frightening that he's describing?
It's definitely more frightening. He compares the experience to the terror of falling asleep, where the ground gives way beneath you and the dream suddenly begins.
That's a very vivid analogy. So this stillest hour was a moment where his entire reality felt like it was shifting, like the solid ground of his certainty disappeared.
Precisely. He says, the ground gave way under me. The dream began. This was a moment of terrifying clarity where a profound truth was revealed to him.
And this revelation comes in the form of a conversation, but it's not with a person, is it? He says something was spoken unto me without voice.
That's right. It's an internal dialogue with this voiceless entity. This inner voice begins by whispering a question to him. Thou knowest it, Zarathustra.
What it that the voice is referring to? Is it his ultimate teaching, the thing he's been working towards this whole time?
Yes, it's the core of his mission, his destiny. But instead of embracing it, Zarathustra is filled with terror. He says the blood left his face, but he remained silent.
So he's completely paralyzed by fear. But the voice doesn't let up, does it? It seems to push him even further on the matter.
It does. The voice speaks again, this time accusingly. Thou knowest it, Zarathustra, but thou dost not speak it. It's calling him out for his silence.
And this is where Zarathustra finally responds, but not with acceptance. He actually pushes back against this inner voice, doesn't he?
He does, with defiance. He replies, Yea, I know it, but I will not speak it. It's a moment of pure, stubborn resistance against his own calling.
That's so human. It's like having a great idea, but being too scared to act on it. The voice then challenges his defiance, calling it a disguise.
Yes, the voice sees right through him, suggesting his defiance is just a mask for his fear. At this, Zarathustra completely breaks down, weeping like a child.
And he admits his weakness, saying, the task is beyond my power. What exactly is this task that he finds so impossible to accomplish?
The voice makes it explicit. Speak thy word and succumb. Essentially, deliver your message, even if it destroys you. And then it tells him he must command.
He must command? That sounds very authoritarian. What does Nietzsche mean by commanding in this context? Is it about political power?
That's a great question. It's not about being a king or a dictator. It's about commanding in a philosophical sense to introduce a new set of values for humanity.
So it's about being a thought leader who can guide humanity in a new direction. But Zarathustra feels he's not up to the task and starts making excuses.
He does. His first excuse is that he's not worthy. He says he's waiting for a worthier one and isn't even worthy enough to fail at the task.
That sounds a lot like modern imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud who isn't qualified for their own role. How does the inner voice respond to this?
The voice dismisses his feelings of unworthiness, saying, What matter about thyself? It tells him his problem is that he is not yet humble enough.
That's a paradox. He feels unworthy, but the voice says he lacks humility. How can that be? What kind of humility is it talking about?
It's the humility to accept your destiny, to become a vessel for a great task without his ego getting in the way. Zarathustra is still too focused on himself.
He then makes another excuse, right? He complains that his message hasn't reached people yet, that he's tried and hasn't succeeded.
Exactly. He says, I went indeed unto men, but not yet have I attained unto them. He feels like his past efforts have been a complete failure.
And the voice has a beautiful poetic answer for this, using an image from nature, which is a really nice touch.
It's a wonderful line. The voice says, the dew falleth on the grass when the night is most silent. It implies that his influence works subtly and quietly, not through loud, immediate success.
So his impact isn't something you can measure day by day. It's a slow, silent change. But Zarathustra is still focused on the negative feedback he's received.
Yes, he brings up how people mocked him when he tried to forge his own path. This is his fear of public opinion and ridicule holding him back.
The voice then gives him a powerful reframing of this. It basically tells him to ignore the haters and embrace his true nature, right?
Precisely. The voice says, what matter about their mockery? Thou art one who hast unlearned to obey. Now shalt thou command. It turns his nonconformity into his greatest strength.
This leads to another one of Zarathustra's excuses. He claims he doesn't have the right kind of personality for commanding. What does he say he's lacking?
He says, I lack the lion's voice for all commanding. He believes he doesn't have the loud, roaring, authoritative presence needed to lead others effectively.
And again, the voice flips this perceived weakness into a strength. It argues that true power isn't about being the loudest person in the room.
Exactly. The voice whispers, it is the stillest words which bring the storm. Thoughts that come with dove's footsteps guide the world. True world-changing power is quiet and subtle.
That's a profound idea. It's not the shouting demagogue, but the quiet thinker whose ideas slowly reshape civilization. But Zarathustra still feels inadequate.
He does. His next response is simply, I am ashamed. He feels shame about his pride, his youthfulness, and his inability to step into this role.
And the voice has one final piece of advice for him, which seems to be a central idea in Nietzsche's philosophy, the need to become a child.
Yes, the voice tells him, thou must yet become a child and be without shame. To create new values, one must shed the old programming and approach the world with innocence and creativity.
So after all this back and forth, all these arguments and counter-arguments, what is Zarathustra's final decision?
Incredibly, after everything, he stands his ground and says what he said at the beginning. I will not. He refuses his destiny one last time.
Wow, so this whole internal battle ends in his refusal. What is the immediate consequence of him saying, I will not, to his own calling?
The atmosphere changes completely. He hears laughter all around him, a painful laughter that he says lacerated my bowels and cut into my heart.
And then the voice delivers its final verdict on his situation. It uses another powerful metaphor, which is very telling.
It does. The voice tells him, O Zarathustra, thy fruits are ripe, but thou art not ripe for thy fruits.
His ideas are ripe, but he himself is not mature.
This explains why he has to go back into solitude. Exactly. The voice commands, so must thou go again into solitude, for thou shalt yet become mellow. He needs more time to grow into the person who can handle this great responsibility.
That's the perfect way to put it. He needs to mellow. After this, the voice and the laughter fade, leaving him in a double stillness on the ground.
And this whole internal drama is what he then explains to his friends. It's the reason he has to leave them, even though it causes him immense pain.
Yes, he's laid his soul bare, explaining this terrifying internal struggle. The chapter ends with him weeping uncontrollably before departing alone into the night.
It's an incredibly moving and vulnerable image. It really highlights the profound personal sacrifice and emotional turmoil involved in a journey like his. It truly does. It shows that the path to greatness is not a triumphant march, but a deeply personal and often painful struggle with one's own fears and inadequacies.
So to sum up, the stillest hour is really about the terrifying moment when you're confronted with your true potential and the immense weight of that responsibility.
Absolutely. It's the ultimate internal battle between knowing your purpose and being too afraid to embrace it, and the difficult journey of becoming ready for your own destiny.